Hello everyone! Today I am reviewing The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, written by Mark Haddon. I actually didn't pick this book for myself. My friends and I have started a book club and this is our book for May. I was really excited to read this book because the play has been running on Broadway for about 8 months now and I still have yet to see it. The most I knew about the book was that there was a boy and a dog. This book was written in 2003 and takes place in present-day Swindon and London, England. The main character is Christopher Boone, who lives with his father Ed. The story is written from Christopher's perspective, and so much so that overall the book is meant to have been written by Christopher. It is categorized as general fiction or British drama. However, Christopher says that this book is a mystery. The story opens with 15-year-old Christopher discovering that his neighbor's dog, Wellington, has been murdered. Because Christopher loves dogs, he wants to find out who killed Wellington. However, his father, Ed, prohibits him from his investigation. You should know that Christopher himself admits to having behavioral difficulties, which in layman's terms means that he falls somewhere on the autism spectrum. Christopher has a bit of a curious nature and takes things quite literally. Therefore, he is able to find a loophole in his father's warning and continues to search for Wellington's killer. Unfortunately, Christopher's curiosity leads to knowledge of his past and present that he never expected. I believe the main idea of this book is the overcoming of obstacles despite the fear to do so. And it's a bit heartwarming because it's portrayed in such a realistic manner. There aren't any fire-breathing dragons or rickety bridges at deathly heights to cross. It's just life and the acknowledgement that that in itself can be difficult. Just going to school or making it through the workday takes a lot of effort and bravery for some people. But that doesn't mean that it's any less difficult than fighting a dragon. In this story, there are 3 big themes that really jump out at me. Trust, lies, and regrets, all of which are interconnected. Person A tells a lie in order to do what they think is best for person B. Person B finds out the truth and ends up not trusting person A. Person A regrets telling the lie in the first place and has to figure out how to regain the trust of person B. And in this story, the lies are big, huge, and they create a significant impact on the characters' lives. I enjoyed reading this book because it was written from Christopher's point of view, the concept being that Christopher was actually the author of the story. Because of this convention, Haddon's writing style is less fluid than I would normally expect. The sentences are straightforward and extremely literal. Occasionally, Christopher utilizes similes in his descriptions, but he shies away from idioms due to his lack of understanding. I found this no-nonsense style of writing quite refreshing, and I think it aids in making the reader feel as though they have really stepped into Christopher's shoes. There were parts of the story that I didn't enjoy. I felt as though my comfort level really fluctuated with the comfort level of Christopher. So if he was calm and relaxed, so was I. However, if he was agitated, then I also really felt that agitation. It made me want to get through those stressful passages in order to get to when things were calm again. In Christopher's moments of agitation, in order for him to deal with being overwhelmed or overstimulated, he would groan to block out sounds or do math problems in his head to clear his thoughts. I enjoyed being able to understand how Christopher perceived and interacted with the world around him, how he dealt with the uncomfortable situations in his life, and how he justified his actions based on those situations. I also really enjoyed learning how the people close to Christopher dealt with him while he was experiencing these high levels of anxiety. While the story is really good, it is fairly straightforward and not anything particularly groundbreaking. However, the way in which the story is told is extremely innovative. I have never read a book like this before, and because of that, I highly recommend it. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime was written by Mark Haddon and is published by Knopf Doubleday Publishing Group. You can find it in stores for $14.95. I hope you enjoyed my review, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.